As Christy mentioned in the video, we have a fairly strong network of people, concerned citizens like we are. It's not just the 6 of us from Rome here who are concerned about the potential effects on our area, but there are a lot of people within our Rome area who are concerned. The meeting that we had in January drew about 500 people, and so this is for those of us, or those of you who cannot make the January meeting, and I appreciate that you're all to come here. One of the things we did in January that I think is very effective is we had sign-up sheets. So if those of you who are not already a part of our Rome Concerned Citizens group, if you would like to provide your email address, we will keep you informed as to the progress of the EIS. If there are some pertinent facts about the development or potential development of this CAFO. I would assure you the information is not being shared. And the way you'll know that is we were actually pressured after the meeting we had in January to give up the names and addresses, email addresses of the people who had volunteered. And we actually took it to the Attorney General's office to protect the names to make sure it didn't get out. We didn't want it getting out to political officials who would use it to campaign or to some siding salesman or whatever who might use that. So if you sign up, trust that you will stay informed and also that information is not going to be shared. So the ladies have some clipboards and they're going to pass it up. So feel free to sign up. We'd love to have you be part of this network. So with that, I'd introduce John Andrizzi.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Fellow citizens, Romans and others, and we have others here today that are joining us from locations elsewhere in the state. CAFO fighters from Bayfield County are with us here today. I'm not sure if we have representatives from Kewaunee County or not, but we're all joined together in a situation that unfortunately is driven by greed. Family farming is something that I think all of us in Wisconsin have come to admire and expect to continue. It's being discontinued by a matter of factory type situations like what we have here today. Christy's video pretty much told what is the situation regarding this factory stuff, but a couple of little reminders and possibly a map that might show a good idea for what us Romans have to look forward to. The possibility of leaching and actually takeaways of our water is very possible. If you look at the bottom of the page here, you see these sort of squared off circles. Each one of these dots, circles here, represent a high capacity well. This particular row of fields is right on the Adams County border, and that locates us about 3 miles to the center of Rome from these wells. If you've heard anything from George Kraft in his presentation, you know that there's a term referred to as cone of depression. That itself refers to what happens when these high capacity wells are put into motion. The cone of depression is an area that surrounds the well. It actually, when pumping takes place, draws water from the aquifer and causes the aquifer to be reduced. We are then in that cone of depression from that particular row of center pivots. So just because it's miles away doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to be exempt from the effects of that possible CAFO. 5,300 cows, that's a lot of poop, folks. And not only is it a lot of poop, but it's a lot of chemical action that takes place when that stuff leaches through the ground. We've had situations in other areas, and that'll be referred to later on by other people today, but nitrate poisoning, if you will, is one of the things that happens with the composition of manure. Nitrates are a chemical that causes, in high dosages, blue baby syndrome for youngsters, and it also causes respiratory difficulties for older people. Generally speaking, 10 parts of nitrogen per measure are what is the threshold level that the EPA allows for healthy water. Some of the wells that have been tested in the sister CAFO to the one that is being proposed here today have tested out at 77 parts per measure. That's almost 8 times what is allowable for healthy water. So when I say lots of poop, it's lots of no good to go along with it. The other numbers here, the fact that we're here in Rome and we are a Sandpoint community relating to our water is something that you might want to think about too. There is a Rome water source for some of the folks here in Rome. It's treated water, but you need to know that that source is located right within that Kona Depression also. So we have about 1,500 wells that could very well be affected, both in drawdown and in chemical sharing, if you will, due to what's going on or what may go on with the farm. 55 million gallons. Christie made a statement regarding the lagoons and the capability of holding 33 million gallons. There's another 22 that's not counted for. Where's that going? It's going to be going through an aerial sprayer. That's the sort of thing that Adams County here doesn't, well, it's not that it's not permitted, but it's definitely regulated by legislation here in Adams County. Wood County doesn't do that right now. So you can expect that there will be center pivot spraying of manure in the new CAFO. That's about all I've got as far as a takeaway from the thing. I'll hand it over to Don, and you can introduce your next speaker.
Bob Binkowski is going to talk about the demographics in Rome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We'll talk a little bit about the value of the town of Rome. 7,100 tax properties value 600 and 700 million in valuation. Just so you know that the town of Rome contributes approximately 26% of the Adams County budget. And the town of Rome also contributes roughly 66% of the Nakusa school. And I think our utilization is around 11 or 12%. You see the impact the town of Rome has on value. You look at the things up there, Wisconsin trap shooters, facility, Tri-North, ski jump, the courses at Lake Arrowhead, Syracuse Park, new Sand Valley Golf Resort, which I understand if this thing is successful could be just a world destination for the people living here, okay? So if you look at those 5 things there, or 6 things up there, they all relate to recreation. You look at the bottom one, major contributor, Adams County, tourism. So you can see what the town of Rome is all about. We're recreation, we're retirement, and we contribute big dollars to the success of this area. A while back, I don't know if so many people remember, there was a Heartland farm that approached our area, and I don't know how many years back it was, and they wanted to plant potatoes, okay? They came into the town, we had a big powwow in the building to the north. People expressed their concerns. Well, then they decided that they would not pursue agriculture here. A gentleman by the name of Mr. Pavelski, who's the owner of Heartland Farms, wants to be a good neighbor, and he felt that if we didn't want him, he would move on to a different destination. My understanding was Mr. Pavelski is also a very good man, contributed a lot to various schools, but that is what we call a good neighbor. Someone who says and recognizes that the people don't want me here. So that's my presentation on this one. I have one more a little later on. You'll see some of the effects that are going on in the town of Rome right now. which are concerns we should all be very concerned about. Thank you.